Yeah, welcome to our ongoing series on Dumb Apple Farmer Talks. We're talking about the life of apples. Things got a little crazy here. Last time we left off, we were in the middle of bloom and just getting started to pollinating and turning those bloom into young fruitlets. So we've skipped a few stages here, and we'll try and catch you up on another year, but for now, here's where we are. So apples bloomed about a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And since that time, that cluster of 5 bloom, the king bloom plus 4 side bloom, have been well and truly pollinated. And after pollination, those 5 fruit, they may not all set for one thing, but the ones that do set will start to differentiate in size, and the tree will make some interesting decisions, and that's what we're talking about today. So as we can see, the fruit is setting, and it's probably about the diameter of a quarter right now, and it's mostly singled out. Here's an example of how that happens. You can see one fruitlet remaining. This was a later bloom for sure. And we can see that these didn't get pollinated, or for whatever reason, they're just going to fall off for sure. This one will stay. Here we've got a double, so out of 5, 2 of them stayed. Here it's singled out to 1. That's what we like. We like to see them singled out to 1 or at the most 2. The tree goes through at this period of time, so it is early June for us. The tree goes through a decision-making process, and it's deciding 2 things: how much fruit to keep for this year, but it's also deciding how many fruit buds to lay down for next year. And how that tree decides that is all based on the number of seeds that it's sensing. Each of these seeds you can think of as sending out a little bit of a signal. So every fruitlet has up to 10 seeds, and each of those seeds is sending out a signal. Now, if the amalgamation of that signal is strong enough, the tree is going to say, heck, I got way too many fruit. I can't make that many carbohydrates. I can't feed all them kids, and I'm going to drop some. And that is the basis of what we call June drop, going from 5 apples on a cluster to 1 or 2. And if we look, we can see on the floor of the orchard, we can see all of these little fruitlets that have been falling of various sizes. We can see all of those fruitlets falling. So these fell earlier, these fell later. That June drop process has pretty much stopped now. We're just about at the end of it, it looks like. Certainly we hope so, because we're just looking pretty good right now. We don't really need to lose more fruit. And again, the tree is basing that on how strong a signals, some biochemical signals are coming off from the seeds, and how many seeds the tree is perceiving is going to determine how many apples it keeps for this year. But it's also going to determine how many apples we're going to have laid down for next year, how many fruit buds we're going to lay down for next year. Again, same process, same signals are helping the tree to determine how many fruit buds to lay down for next year, and by extension, how many of those buds will just be either blanks or leaves. So in the homeowner world of appledom, you may see in your backyard, if you got 1 or 2 apple trees, a big variance one year to the next. Big crop one year, no crop the next year. Big crop one year, no crop the next year. That's all based on this principle. So if you overcrop trees a lot one year, the tree will set less fruit for the following year. If you, let's say, undergo a freeze one year where all the apples are wiped off early on, then the next year you can almost guarantee that the tree is going to try its best to make up for lost time, and it's going to set a lot of fruit buds for the following year. So that's the process that's going on. Like I say, we're in the middle of June drop. At this point, apples are pretty well established on the tree. The ones that are there are probably going to stay unless, get a hurricane or a derecho like we had last year. And they'll just start to size incrementally. The other thing to note is that this is the period of time when, previous to this, apples had been laying down cells. So Early days, cell division, apples are going from 1 cell to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 16, and exponential cell division and growth. After a certain period of time, the cells stop dividing and just start to enlarge. So that's the kind of program that we're going to be looking at going forward here, is basically the apples are going to go from size of a quarter to the size of a $50, and then hopefully the size of a frickin' pumpkin. No, we don't want them that big, but we do want them bigger. So they'll come along with that. The other thing to note at this period of time is what's happening in tree growth. So you can see the growth for this year is, what is that, about a foot long right now. For a dwarf tree like these are on M9 rootstock 337. Yeah, I mean, it's not incredible growth, but it's good enough. It's pretty typical. This is snow sweet, not a real strong grower, and we like what we're seeing. Nice clean leaves, nice clean fruit, and life's looking pretty good in the life of an apple farmer.